Well, hello, my friends. How are you all? I hope you're great. I am just especially peachy today. The sun is shining. It's not as warm as yesterday. We had yesterday in about the 70s. Today is about mid 60s, but it's still very, very nice. So that gave me an opportunity to be out and observe all my animals. As you know or not know, if you've just tuned in, welcome to our little brunch with Gisela. Love to have you all, even though I don't know who you are, but I trust that you enjoy the show and that's why you tuned in. Um, and I was outside spending a little time. And I was observing my chickens. I have a rooster named Clyde, who most of the time he goes a little bit after me. He doesn't really like me, I think. But I noticed today, I always thought he was very smart. You know, what he does is when he's outside, my chickens run around all day on my little well, I don't want to call it a farm. It's 3 acres, so it's not really a farm, but it's big enough for 4 chickens and a rooster and 2 horses. And I was watching him, and sometimes I think that's absolutely great, appropriate too, because let me tell you, this rooster is, I don't know if I have talked to you about this rooster before. I'm sure I did mention him because he fascinates the heck out of me. Because I've never had chickens. The only chicken we ever had was on the balcony one time when right after the war, and I think I told that story that my grandmother, who wanted to provide food for us, she killed the chicken and nobody wanted to eat it. Now, well, so we did that story, right?
Yeah.
If you didn't hear it, just go into the chat room, tell me to tell you again because it's one of my favorite stories. However, this rooster named Clyde, who was sold to me as a hen. So he was not supposed to be even a rooster, but he turned out to be a beautiful, big, white rooster with a red, beautiful comb. And whenever I go in the morning, if I'm in a hurry or if it's already late, I go in there in my white bathrobe and I give everybody some water and some food. Well, if I'm in my white bathrobe out there, he attacks me for sure. He goes after me. I don't know if he thinks I'm a bigger rooster because I'm white. But today was really something that I noticed that was really interesting. So when I let them out, I usually have a stick in my hand because, you never know with him. He might just come after me because for whatever, because he's very protective of his chickens, of his little girls, 4 of them. So the rooster came out, 3 of the chickens come out, 1 chicken stays in. She just does not want to come out. So I'm standing there and I'm watching this and I'm saying, well, come on, chicken. I mean, what you have done this for 2 years, almost every day. So what's your problem? Well, Rooster apparently thought so too, because he went back and tried to coax her out. First, he ran along the fence, tried and clucked to her and told her, come on over here. That's where you can get out. She wouldn't. Then he went inside, tried to take her out. Nope, she wouldn't come out. So he was just really frustrated, you could tell. I mean, he hung out outside waiting for her. He went in again, tried to take her out. And I kept thinking, what a smart rooster this is. I have never seen anything like it. It was just too amazing. So finally I said, well, I guess those two have it in hand. If the chicken wants to come out, she's going to come out. I just left all the doors open. And yeah, and she did come out, you know. But it was just so amazing, the behavior of this rooster. If any of you have chickens and you have a story like that, let me know because, like I said, I'm not an expert on chickens. But that means protective and memory, that here it comes with memory. And I have a few things that I've found that were really fascinating. As you know, my show is always a little bit about some facts about animals, a little bit natural health for animals, a little, general knowledge. Today, we're going to be talking about atheism, which I thought was super interesting that I heard this morning. And then we're going to talk a little bit about my secret. And so it's going to be an interesting show. Anyway, did you know there was a test done by the University of Michigan, and that showed that a cat can memorize as long as 16 hours, whereby a dog has a memory of about 5 minutes. Is that super interesting or what?
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that also explains, I have three cats. So you punish a cat, like for instance, you kick a cat or you step accidentally on a tail, or or you somehow you have something that seems like an aggression towards the cat. The cat will memorize that. She will. Next time you walk by, she's going to get you. She definitely will get you. She's going to lash out at you and swat you one. Um, my cats all have been. I mean, sometimes they sprout on the couch, and it's dark or so, and you don't really see them right away. And you sit on the tail or so on, and they go yay, and off they go. Well, they hide under a chair. Next time I walk by, I got it in the leg. Now, you kick a dog, and a dog has a memory of about 5 minutes. Now, that is really interesting too. Now, you kick a dog or you abuse a dog, and the next time that this dog sees you, they're just as happy and and greeting you like your long lost friend. Well, it probably has something to do with their memory also. And it also probably has something to do with that dogs have lived with humans about 14,000 years already. I wonder if anybody knew that. Whereby cats have only lived half as long with humans. They are more wild yet. They have lived with humans about 7,000 years, which is not even a drop in our time of how old the world is. And I thought that was just absolutely amazing. And another interesting fact that I found, which I mean, made me bust out laughing. In 1879, in Belgium, they thought they could train cats to deliver the mail. And they did. They trained cats to deliver the mail. They had little harnesses on them, and there was the mail in there. Well, didn't work so well. I wonder why. Have you ever watched your cat? If you taught her something or so on, were they purposefully doing it every time you asked them to? Mm, 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 mm,
Hmm.
mm, mm. I don't think so. I'm pretty good with my animals, and I do teach them a thing or two. I don't believe in humanizing them too much, teaching them tricks and so on. But if for some people they want to do that, go ahead. And certainly dogs enjoy it, but cats. Not so much. They will go off and do their own thing every time. So delivering the mail, I wonder who thought that one up. I mean,
They may take it to the
it,
neighbor.
yeah, it didn't work so well. But it made an interesting fact in the fact books.
I mean, I've got a problem with that study because first of all, I mean, our little Gaia, we don't hit them, but we will
Yeah,
yell at them if they do
yeah.
something wrong, and she will know it for hours when she
Oh
comes and
yeah.
she looks at you like, okay, I mean, I didn't do anything. The other thing is, if a dog can only memorize for 5 minutes, what happens to all these dogs that are abused, and then when you try to uh, adopt them, they are running away.
Fearful.
They don't want any because they're afraid. I mean, they
They are
must
afraid.
remember.
They do. They do. And fear is a terrible teacher. I mean, it's a good teacher because fear will teach more than anything else. That's why many animals in the past, which thank God and thankfully that is being, uh, you know, stopped.
Phased out. Yeah.
Right, that animals are trained by fear and by abuse and by punishment, But many animals, if you train a dog by fear, but now I have a little problem with that too, with the 5 minute problem. I think they mean that as a short-term memory or a fast memory, like we have too.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know, we they mean that in that, not learned behavior. Learned behavior they retain much longer. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of service dogs that do fantastic work, and they obviously, and then there are dogs that they're more intelligent than others. One of the studies here is also that it said poodles are very smart. And I know that I have a little toy poodle, and he's very smart. He's very patient and very, they're just dogs that are very smart. Now, the dog that looks like the Anubis, with a very pointed face, very, very pointed ears, beautiful, beautiful dog. Um, they are considered the quietest dogs. They hardly ever bark. And having my three rascals, who seem like they never want to shut up, um, that would be a blessing. Although they also say that that dog is rather stupid. So I don't know if I would want to have that. I kind of enjoy having smart animals around me. Yeah, so talking about dogs, there's another interesting fact that I found. All dogs can be traced back to millions of years ago, 40 million years ago, 40 million years ago. And they are traced to a weasel type animal called the Myacis, Miacis, Myacis. And they dwelled in trees. Can you believe it? And then they evolved in the tomatus. The tomatus then are the direct forebearers of the genus Canis. And that's the direct descendants, the wolf and the jackal and our current dog is a direct descendant. That's where the word canine comes from. That is, they were the canis that came out of the trees. Did you know that? I didn't until I found that. I said, wow, that is an interesting fact, that uh, I mean, I would have never. Amnon, did you know that they were tree dwellers at one time?
The what?
They were tree dwellers. The dogs, the forebearers of the canis, which we call now canine,
Mm-hmm.
were tree dwellers. They
Really?
lived in trees, yeah.
Right.
And they became the Tomarctus, a direct forebearer of the Canis, which is then evolved into the canine, the wolf, the jackal, the dog.
Hmm.
Super interesting. And I wonder if anybody of you can tell me of where the phrase raining cats and dogs comes from.
They fell from the sky.
You know what? Sometimes, I mean, people would leave animals here, and I would sometimes think, I don't know, did it come from the sky? Where did they come from? Yeah.
It's
No,
interesting.
no. Anybody else knows maybe the phrase raining cats and dogs? Do you know of where that came from?
I don't
No?
know.
Going once, going twice? All right. Well, I'll tell you. In the 7th century England, there were such heavy rains and such big storms that many of the homeless dogs and cats drowned and they washed into the river. So there were all these poor animals floating about in the river, and it was like it rained cats and dogs.
Hmm.
That's where that phrase comes from. So it's not so far that they came from the sky. They did. Just in a different way than we thought. But it's a very, very interesting fact, isn't it?
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I thought so too. Now, while we are with dogs, and that's one of the last ones tidbits I'm going to give you. One of the researchers found that if you gaze in your dog's eyes, your dog and humans have a spike in oxytocin. Oxytocin is what makes us feel good. It's like the same thing um, that if you have sex. So if you want to feel good, look deeply into your dog's eyes, makes them feel good, and it makes you feel good. And another thing is, we have talked about uh, to find out how a dog would be, how you would know that they are ill or if they have a fever. Well, I researched that a little bit because I thought, well, you know what? When our pets are, they go through different phases too. So a dry nose may not always be an indication for an illness already, but it may be an indication for allergies or dehydration, especially in cats. Cats are very finicky drinkers, as we all know. And I know my 3 cats, they will not drink from the dog bowl. They just won't. One cat, I have a water can that I use for my plants here, and I fill it up to the top. And that's the only place that one cat will drink from. Or she will perch on the horse trough when it's all the way filled to the top. And I'm always thinking of one day she's going to fall in there and she's not going to get out when I'm home and going to drown. But to this day, she hasn't, and she has done this for now over, well, a year and a half. So I guess the cat is pretty agile there, but that's the only place the cat will drink. But most people do not have to really worry that much of water in the food, because if you feed canned cat food, that's about 80% water. And if you feel like you wanted to give more water, just add a little bit more water into the can when you feed it. I'm not really a proponent of saying feed a lot of canned food. We don't. We give them a spoonful at a time. But for one of the cats that I have, the little female calico that I have, she only wants her water that way. So what I do is I put water into her food with a spoonful of food, and then I put a couple more spoonful of water in there, and she likes it that way. So if you have a cat that is a real finicky drinker, there are several things that you can do. One other thing is having a little fountain. A lot of cats like that, like moving water, which I think is really a cool idea. I tried it, didn't work so well. They were playing with it more. I had a puddle all around it, and I don't know how much water they drank, so we abandoned the fountain thing. But a lot of cats like it, you know. If you have any interesting ideas of what your cats will do, please share. I love to hear it. Do we have any questions, Amnon?
Nope.
Nobody wants to talk to me. That's too bad.
Oh.
Ah, well, listen, guys and girls. On Sunday morning, I love watching Sunday morning on CBS. I believe it's CBS. It's here on Channel 2. But it's a variety show of all kinds of things. And I love doing that while in the morning I make breakfast. And most of the time it's just, stuff that is not really that super interesting. But this morning, it was a real interesting comment. They were talking about how atheism is growing. And if you say you're an atheist, not believe in any religion, that many people think that you really are right next to the devil. You are not a person that people want to associate with. At least that program said so. And I was thinking about that because I don't really have a formalized religion anymore. I grew up Catholic, was baptized Lutheran, and then I believed in the Catholic Church doctrine for a long time until I finally one day said, well, this all is not working for me. And then I played around with all kinds of things like Buddhism this and Hinduism that, and now in my wise old age, I decided that I think the best solution is to have just a you know, a good thought for the world and good thought and good, do good things, help other people, help animals, help the world. See that you don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't steal, you don't badmouth your neighbor. Um, you know, I mean, be a decent, nice human being. And I think that should be a religion enough. for me it is. Now, if you need so many people, they do need the community of a church. They do need the community of a belief system. Um, but if it comes to the point of where um, I heard a Catholic priest saying, when the one time that I did go was just recently to church that only Catholics go to heaven, I was a little appalled, to say the least. Because, first of all, I don't really believe in a heaven or in a hell, because I think that we make that ourselves here on earth. Um, but I mean, to say only Catholics go to hell, go to heaven. Yeah, well, only Catholics will probably also go to hell then. But to say that as a priest, I thought that was really rather appalling, and it confirmed my belief that these people are only human, and they are sometimes a little deluded in their belief system. Although I do think that this Pope that is right now is doing a lot of good for the Catholic Church. But atheism, for instance, they interviewed blacks, and many of the African American community, they believe very strongly in a religion. And I think of all the countries that I have visited in my life, America is the one who has the most churches, has the most people who believe in an organized religion of some kind. But these African American people, they are forming groups of saying, we are atheists and we do not want to be discriminated against. And America is the country that anybody who thinks they are being discriminated against, they can voice it. And I think that's a good thing that they are voicing it, because we shouldn't. Just because somebody doesn't believe in an organized religion or in a God as such, they shouldn't be discriminated against. They shouldn't be told, I don't, you're not as good as I am. And that was just what I gleaned out of that. I found that super interesting that a national network would have that on their program and talk about it. It was very, very interesting. And so if you have any thoughts on that, again, let me know. If I get any feedback from you, I will respond to it. If I don't, you just have to put up with my rants. So, what next? What shall we talk about next? Well, you have any suggestions, Amnon?
No, but Kathy's putting something in the chat. She said, I have been through similar journey and ended up where you are now. So she's sort of like the same. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Are you
absolutely.
are you talking about future shows?
No, I'm just talking now about, I also, does anybody have a bucket list?
I have a bucket.
Well, I have a bucket list, and on the top of that bucket list, all the things I want to do before I die, because dying and taxes are the two most certain things in our life.
Yep.
And my one on the top of the list is, I would like to go to Alaska and see the aurora borealis.
Mm. You can do
I
it.
would love to, what?
You can do it.
I know, and I will. I have the camper for it. I have everything, and told my husband already. I said, once I make provisions that we can leave for like 2 weeks or so on, I will go up there and we will go and we will look at that because I've always wanted to look at that. It's the one thing that I haven't seen. I've seen elephants and white rhinoceros in Africa. I've seen beautiful China. I have seen all of Europe. I've seen a lot of things, but that is the one thing that I really would like to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just, again, I saw something that even confirmed that. So, anybody else have a bucket list? Tell me of something that you like to see or do. For a while, I thought, well, maybe it would be nice to go and jump out of an airplane with a parachute. I've given that one up, though, because I really don't think I first of all I have a great fear of heights, and I think I would die looking down from the airplane with an open door and somebody behind me saying jump. I don't think so. I don't think I would do that. My heart would probably give out. So have you ever jumped out of an airplane, Amnon?
I was very, very young.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the kind of thing you should do when you're young, right?
Yeah.
Although I've heard that 80-year-old ones have done it, you know? So can't be that bad,
I
right?
mean, today to do it, it's pretty easy from what I see because the parachute brings you down almost to the point that you can just stand up.
Yeah.
When I did it, I mean, you hit the ground and you had to roll, and
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah. And today you would jump with somebody in their arms, you
That
know,
you can
they
do
have
too.
you
That's right. Yep.
tied to them. It's a
Yep.
buddy jump. Yeah. Yeah. But still, I mean, my heart just would give out. I mean, I went to Hershey Park, my husband's 75th birthday. He requested he wanted to go to Hershey Park, to the amusement park. So my girlfriend and I, we said, we'll take you. So we went, and we went on that big roller coaster. They have this huge roller coaster there. And when you plunge down on that, I mean, I my eyes were tightly closed. My heart was in my throat, and I thought, any moment I'm going to be dead. So I couldn't even take that. So
Mm-hmm.
no, airplane jumping, I don't think is my thing. Balloon ride would be nice, but that also is rather dangerous because there have been several accidents lately about that. Well, my friends and listeners, those are the things that we were talking about today. And then I would like to again tell you about my secret. You remember last time I told you I make custom blended creams. Let me tell you of some of the ingredients that are that I can put into this cream, okay? One is called the tripeptide, and they're all peptides. Now, why they are peptides? The peptides are that go into the dermis, right into the deeper layers. I used also DMAE that transport these peptides into the skin. And they will remove lines, even those lines around the mouth that women get when they, get to be in their 50s. You start getting these lines. You start getting uh, the deeper nasal lines, the worry frown lines, right? All of those can be with the peptides. I have 4 different peptides that I put in there. One of them is a peptide made from the venom of the temple viper. And what that does is it's a natural Botox. It stops the muscle to contract. Not totally so that you're frozen like with a Botox injection, but enough that you don't form these lines right up here, also around the eyes and around the mouth. And if you use these peptides in my secret, the way I formulate it, you can reduce within 28 days, you can reduce all lines and wrinkles to over 50%. So I think that is a good idea to contact me and see of how you can obtain your own secret. All right. If you have any questions, always go to my website. It's mylife-mywill.org. And you have there a link to my secret. And you also have there some of the other facts that I do. As you guys know, I'm a homeopathist and a natural health practitioner. And I would never, ever use things that are not really, that are purely chemical, because our world is made of too many chemicals. By the way, in my secret, there is one of the only truly natural infrared light protector, and it's called a knot grass, and it protects the skin against photoaging. Now that's a little different than just a sunscreen. A sunscreen is often made with zinc oxide or with a chemical that stops the skin from absorbing sun damage. But not gas, what that does is it really also, if you're sitting in front of a computer screen like I do so much, those rays can age the skin. So not gas protects you from that. So I can put that into your secret also. And it works very, very well, as you can see on my face, because I decided I will never age. I may die, but I will die young looking. All right. With that, this time the show is concluded. I hope to hear from you all. If you have questions, do we have any more? Anybody else
Nope.
talking about?
No.
No, nobody wants. Everybody is outside enjoying the beautiful day.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we might have in the summertime. We might do just a monthly show, because people will be more outside. We will also be enjoying our Sundays more. Amnon,
Sure.
what do you think about that?
It's fine. It's up to you.
Yeah, we might do that. Have a summer schedule, so that we all can enjoy the summer and have our Sundays free.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
We'll talk.
thank you very much for listening. Always love being with you. Bye-bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCBVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.